Oh, it's incredible. Marching orders. And it's apropos for today's show. It's September 8th, so what morning after a 2-week hiatus. We have returned with yet another riveting topic. First off, let me shout out my son. He committed to Auburn University. Let me just give him that. You know, I'm proud of him on that. But today is September 8th, and September 8th takes on a different tone. It's National Protest Blackout Monday. Very important. And So What Show is going to get right into that. We've got to start recycling black dollars. So what do? I bring in people from my town. And it's not exclusive to people from my town, by the way. You can be from anywhere and come get supported on the So What Morning Show. This is what we're doing. Right now, in the studio, good friend of my uncle. He said, hey, man, there's a black business out there that you need to support. This brother works harder than a Hebrew slave. Well, the myth of one, anyway. Right, yeah. They didn't build the pyramids. However, he's in the studio with us right now. The brother owns and operates No Clog Plumbing, Drain, and Sewer Cleaning. He's in the building right now. My brother, Baron, is in the building. What's up, man? Tell me about your business. Everybody out there is listening because we're going to support. That's the purpose of today's show. September 8th, Blackout Monday. Let's shift that $1.1 trillion back into the pocket of black business owners. What's happening, man?
Man, I'm glad to be here on the show today, man.
Man, welcome. Exactly what do you do and what area do you cover? Because we want people to come support you right now.
We do all phases of plumbing, drain and sewer cleaning, hydrojetting. And the areas that we service is Southern California, from Pasadena to Dara Heights, Windsor Hills, all in L.A.
So you all over the place?
Yes, I am.
Oh, let's take a look at this.
What we've been doing lately is a lot of pipe bursting, a lot of hydrojetting, and a lot of line location for realtors, restaurants, and commercial properties. One, lean and mean. What we've done is we got rid of the building, we got rid of extra weight that we carry on the truck, we got rid of extra trucks. That reduces our insurance,
This man is a real business owner right here. Why can't we support him? If something is going on in your plumbing, why not go support a brother doing honest work, got his son in a little private school, doing his thing, hustling? I ain't mad at you, man. Once again, what's the number they can call you at?
Give us a call at 626-794-5703.
Wow. And the website?
Website is No Clog Plumbing. And you can email me also at noclogplumbing@yahoo.com.
noclogplumbing@yahoo.com. My man Baron's in the building. Call to action. Go support his business. Zoe Williams said do so. Go do it right now. It's important that we recycle the dollars. Now, you know the routine. Real men don't play. Go to the website right now. Real men don't play. Make your orders now. Hey, recycling of black dollars begins today. Today's the day. No excuses. September 8th, Blackout Monday. You know who it is. Bobby Glanton-Smith. Go support his work right now. Very important. Also, I got about 30 copies left. Roughly. About 30. I'm not quite sure. About 30. And then it's done. Go to my website right now. IamZoeWilliams.com and purchase your copy of The Rebirth of Seeds right now. I will sign it, autograph it, and send it right out to you immediately. It's almost over. It's almost done. I'm not kidding. So what? The Rebirth of Seeds. Go do it. Also, you got to go to this website too. Holeinthehead.com. This is a shocking story that we need to read so we can have some type of cultural and social context for how we're being treated in America. We got to read this. He hid a shocking secret under his wig for 71 years. The incredible true story, Hole in the Head, A Life Revealed by Wilbert Smith, PhD. That brother was experimented on since he was 5 years old. Come on. Learn your history. Go support this book right now. Amazon.com. But better, Go to the brother's website right now, holeinthehead.com, www.holeinthehead.com, and see this.
Little round beanie they put on our heads, and then two girls stood behind a LED screen, and they pushed a button, and it seemed like I saw some flashes. And she told the other nurse, "Oh my God, I've given him too much." Make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
I think
The crazy thing about this, the brother has a documentary. You can also get the documentary. The documentary is there too. Can we do something right now? I'm tired of black people complaining. I'm tired of marching after somebody get killed. Does somebody else got to get killed for us to start recycling the dollars? What got to happen? Somebody you love, somebody you like. Rihanna got to get hit by a bus by some racist Ku Klux Klan members for us to get together. Is that what we got to do? Go to the man's website, holeinthehead.com, and get the book, get the DVD, and don't forget, you got to go noclogplumbing.com. If you're in the Los Angeles area, go to noclogplumbing.com. I'm promoting. I got to do that. Ramo Mart, go do it right now. Ramo Mart. Go get the brothers' shirts. Everybody's getting their shirts. I see everybody on Facebook taking pictures in your fly shirts. Oh, it's icy. Go do it right now. No more excuses. September 8th, blackout. That's what we're doing right now, right? Is that what we're doing? Arise Hospitality, right? Arise Hospitality. What is Arise Hospitality? It's just the Black Office Depot. What's going on? It's the Black Staples Center. What's going on? You need furniture? You need staples? What do you need? Go get it right now. AriseHospitality.com. Where's my website? Lord have mercy, Jesus. You can't hire good white folk no more. Arise Hospitality. There's the website. That's what we need. It's up. It's running. It looks fly right now. Hey, what else do we need? What else? What else are we going to do right now? Blackmastery.com, right? Absolutely. Let's pull up blackmastery.com. Exactly. A neurolinguistic program? What? That undoes Willie Lynch? Colorism? Come on. If you're being hypnotically programmed to buy a car, why not hypnotically program yourself to change your future? I'm just saying. That's what we're talking about. We've got more businesses to cover, but before I get to that, Veronica Conway is on the phone right now. Veronica,
hey, Joe.
Can you talk to us about what we're about to do today after the show? Tell them right now.
Well, you know, and I love that this is the topic for today on Blackout Day, because if there are two things that we have got to deal with as black people, that we have got to deal with, is the fact that our minds are colonized, and that we are in an economic holocaust that we can actually shift.
Wait. That's heavy. Wait, Veronica, that's heavy. What is an economic holocaust? Black people are in an economic holocaust. What does that mean?
Well, it means that in this climate, we are going to have to take control of our own economy, because it is clear and obvious that we are not going to get any support from the dominant culture. They brought us over here to build their economy, and basically we are left to fend for ourselves. But the thing is that they want to give jobs to their own. And so we have to become business owners. We've got to become entrepreneurs. If there are 1.9 million solopreneur black businesses in the United States, if every one of those businesses hired a black person, we would eradicate black unemployment. But we don't think like that, because our minds have been so colonized. So we try to go get a job.
So Veronica, we got to move. We got to move quickly. Tell people what we're doing today at 2:30 p.m. that they can join right now. We got to do it in 30 seconds. How do they get with us today?
We're going to be doing a conference call to talk about moving from wannapreneurship to entrepreneurship at 2:30, and we can talk about the phone numbers.
What's the number? What's the number? Do we have it?
Sure, it's 425-440-5100, and the conference ID is 636-167#.
Okay, can I get that number one more time, please?
Sure, it's It's 425-440-5100, and the conference ID is 636167#. And so we're going to be doing a conference call to talk about our economic empowerment and how do we move from being a wantrepreneur to being an entrepreneur today.
Exactly. And I'm on this call. So call, let's do it right now. Because I don't want to hear no more excuses about you don't have the resources, the tools, or whatever to fix your life. We've got one of the world's greatest transformational coaches online that shows you how to develop from a wantrepreneur into an entrepreneur. No excuses today. What's that number again? And say it slow and soft.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number to call is 425-440-5100, 5100.
Indeed.
And the conference ID is 636167#.
So listen, thank you, Veronica. I'll see you later on today. And you see the suit? You know I'm sharp as a Ginsu. I'm sharper than Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. You know what it is. We coming with our own line of clothes just for so what, man? Look at this suit. I'm icy. Hiploose.com.
And one of the greatest tragedies in life is getting to the end of your life and looking back and realizing it was mediocre, and it didn't have to be that way. The number one reason is people are unwilling to listen and care about what's important to the other person. But what if you could be someone who dared to care about everybody in your life? When you're in love, smoke gets in your eyes. But when you're anxious, you talk more than you listen. I asked my wife a month ago, I said, I don't know whether to have an affair or buy a motorcycle. And she said, if you have an affair, I'll kill you. If you get the motorcycle, you'll kill yourself. Go with the bike. You know, we're about to talk about the state of the union. And here's the issue. You can't have a union anywhere if people are not listening to each other. And one of the reasons I think we're in trouble is because people in power, and a lot of people not in power, live by a double standard. And the double standard is what I refer to as LAD. I want you to listen to me, I want you to agree with me, and I want you to do what I say, but I don't have to listen, agree, or do what you say. And too many people live by that double standard. And as long as you live by that double standard, there's not going to be any union going on anywhere. It's interesting, you know, this book I wrote, Just Listen, a lot of people find it comical because people will say, oh, I want to give that to other people because they need to listen to me.
Right.
But when you say, oh, no, but the book is for you, and sometimes I've given it to the heads of organizations. They say, oh, I'm going to give this to all my people. I said, no, the book is for you. You're not listening to your people. You're not listening to the people you represent, and they still don't get it. And so I think as long as there is this double standard, now it's interesting, in this show, we're back and forth with each other, so we all, but that's part of the entertainment, but a lot of us will say, listen to me, agree with me, do what I say, and we go back and forth, but that's kind of part of the entertainment of this. Mm-hmm. But until we actually listen and agree and do unto others what, you know, we'd like them to do unto us. I mean, until we follow that golden rule, I think it's going to be a long time before we get golden in this country.
Wow. Wow. You're not listening,
Yeah,
Jeff?
you weren't listening.
Good job, Jeff. Thank you. and the doc sets us up perfectly for today's topic. Today's topic, the Black State of the Union. We're going to talk about everything. Ferguson, Obama, STDs, black relationships, gangs, private prisons, broken families, the talented 10th, interracial dating, our future, love and hip-hop even. Why not? Let's deal with some of that frivolity for a bit. I don't know. But if we must. And it's important that we cover this, because what's so beautiful about the dynamic of this show? Whenever we talk about America in general, it's almost like there's two Americas, right? So America is one thing, you know, the perception, the idea, the concept, and then there's a black reality that's also America. So when we say this is about the state of the union, we're also talking about the state of the black union. Mm-hmm. How about it? Now, as is commonplace, you know I like to ask tough questions. Should white / Caucasian people, or other ethnic groups for that matter, be allowed to sit in on think tanks and discussions regarding the future of the black community? We have a really white one sitting in here now. He's whiter than all of us. How did he get here? Did he sneak in? Should he be here? A lot of people get their information from Spike Lee's, classic X movie, right? When Malcolm is approached by the white woman, and he goes, you can't help us. A lot of black people get their information from that, and they don't have enough information on Malcolm. But we're going to get into it today. How about it? Should blacks, listen to this, incessantly criticize/defend President Obama? I want to talk about it today. Do y'all want to talk about it? 855-878-4652 is the number to dial. How do black people / the black community, black men and black women, recover from our collective psychological, emotional, physical, and mental Holocaust here in America? Is it possible to do so within this society? 855-878-4652. Have highly educated and gainfully employed black women become the default leaders of the black community? 855-878-4652. This is the only show in the world that can do it like this, and this is why we suited and booted today, because this is the Black State of the Union. This is our panel. We had to look presidential because Dr. G said the president is not doing presidential things, so somebody got to take or assume leadership. Now, I'm just telling you right now, this ain't about banging on Obama. Oh, shit. Get out of here, Geoff. Has religion become a powerful social opiate designed to keep the black community disorganized, disillusioned, and dazed while the rest of the world is progressing forward?
As in the words of Joseph Stalin?
I'm just saying. What role does self-hate play in the role, or play into the black man and black woman's choice concerning interracial dating? Now, I'm going to stop with the question.
Yeah, you need a Zoe.
We got a panel here that's august. More people are coming, right? We got more folks coming. Get him in here. Let me just introduce directly to my left. And when I tell you,
Sweet Jesus.
Yes, I mean, it's like the angel Gabriel woke up and made his secret recipe for cream of wheat. Just buttery and savory and all over the tongue deliciousness.
Do you realize if you two light-skinned people, you two attractive light-skinned people with your deep minds, if the two of you had a baby, it would just be a frickin' ball of light.
It'd be sponsored by Johnson & Johnson.
Feed the light. Feed the light.
So let me say this. She's here. Famed casting director Tracy Twinkie Bird in the studio. If you don't know about her, man, you gotta know. She casted for Sparkle, Black Nativity, Fruitville Station, Being Mary Jane, Moesha, the Gabby Douglas Story, Stomp the Yard, Notorious. What? We just keep going. She keep black people working. You know? She's reinvesting in black dollars. How about that? That's what this whole show's about. Monday blackout, September 8th, we blacking out. We got Ise Lyfe in the building. Hey, let me tell you right now, don't forget to get his audio book. It's on Amazon.com. Pistols and Prayers. Get the audio book. This is the audio book to his actual book. You can get it also on Amazon.com. Pistols and Prayers. We glad to have the brother in. Bobby Glanton-Smith. Dr. Mark Goulston, our resident white man, who will help us find a way out of the black community morass, I hope. And also, we have Geoff Brown, the consummate, comedic, intellectual irritant. But the irritant part is probably being taken over by our resident honorary uncle, Uncle Bobby. I'm sorry, Bobby. Hey, but y'all heard the topic. It's a Black State of the Union. It's a lot going on right now, and even more has broken since we started this show. So let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. Is Ferguson an opportunity for us to organize? And if so, why do we need tragedy in order to organize? Can somebody speak to that?
Yeah. If I
of
may,
course it's you.
I'll take the point. Kind of, and I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I did say this. Stuff's not bad enough for black people yet. Stuff's not, when Trayvon happened, I said, look at it. It's not bad enough for us to figure out that we need to be financial terrorists. It's not bad enough for us to figure out that all of our solutions are with us, and none of them are in the White House, none of them are at town hall meetings, none of them, they are all within us. It just had to get worse, and now this is a little, I don't think it's bad enough yet. We're going to need about 5-6 more of these before black people figure out. Some more people going to have to die.
What?
Yeah, it's not bad enough.
That's kind of bleak. That's kind of gloom.
Bruh, have you looked on World Star? I'm not the bleak one.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
I'm just reporting it.
Wow. Bobby?
You know, when he said that, I had to agree with him in this sense. Ferguson is the wrong focus simply because it plays to an emotional level that really it camouflages the deeply rooted problems that we have. A much larger issue is in the paper this morning. It's an organization out of Chicago that sends out some very important information called the Black Star something or another. And they reported that in New York, they had 90 schools to report that of those 90 schools, not one black or Latino kid passed the state exam.
But here's the thing. We talked about this during the break. They don't want them to pass either.
But it's not a matter about they. How can we accept that?
But
and not be alarmed to the extent that we're just as outraged that we're sending our children to school to learn how to go to the penitentiary or the cemetery.
Absolutely.
Wow.
How do you buy a Maybach?
So is that now the new curriculum, Bobby? We'll find out when we return. How not to go to the penitentiary.
Wow. Or the cemetery.
Or the cemetery. So what mornings? We'll be back at 2.2. We taking callers too. Let's go.
There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here.
And a masonry is a form of secret society. There are other well-known secret societies like Skull and Bones at Yale, of which this corrupt president and his father were members of. And it is that society that the black society modeled itself after. So when they wrote their first history book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, by a very noted black author, University President Charles Wesley, who wrote the history book for the Elks, the Prince Hall Masons, National Council of Negro Women, Alpha Phi Alpha, and Sigma Pi Phi. And as a result, in there, in page 28 of its first history book, it noted that it wanted to be like Skull and Bones again.
We are dying every day, and we're in a hell of a condition because we've made a covenant with a government that is death itself, with a people that have lied to us, deceived us, and murdered us, and rubs us good on one side and kicks us in the behind on the other. You are a deceived people. If you don't have the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said, then sit down and stop trying to say you speak for our people and the hurt of the poor.
Well,
and scene. Thank you for tuning in to the Zoe What Morning Show. It's over. Jeez.
Yeah. We'd like to thank.
I set that video up purposely, right? We talked about the house nigga, right? Again, the only way black people can survive, in my opinion, is through unification. It's through sharing of resources, whether it's intellectual, financial, real estate, the whole nine. That's the only way. But as long as there's a strata of Negro who thinks he's protected by the house he has chosen to participate in, we're going to be in trouble. We need them too. They've got resources. We're going to be in trouble. Now, either they die or they help. Because one day they're going to recognize that they are the help. Dr. G had a point. Go ahead, Doc.
You know, I think it's time to stop being so angry and try and get smarter and ask yourself, what is it that would make the rest of the world care? And Jeff's been talking about this financial terrorism. So right here, right now, here's a suggestion to the black community from the only white guy here, because I really want to level the playing field in the world.
Put this ink pen down, because I got a sharp object.
No, I really want to level the playing field, and not in an unfair way. So here, you're hearing it here for the first day. Here's a suggestion. This is a way to level the playing field and make money if you're black. What I'm suggesting to the black community is if you have investments in any stocks, you go out and short Walmart, meaning you predict it's going to go down, and then after you short Walmart, you boycott it. And if all the black people boycotted Walmart,
Jew bombs.
You'd be doing what the other community's been doing forever. And what will happen is the earnings will go down. That comes out November 13th. The earnings will go down. And if you've shorted Walmart...
Wait just a minute. What are you doing? You're telling me Schwartz is about to door.
You're going to make yourself a lot of money, but you're also going to see that you can influence the world, because the world's going to wake up and take notice. Absolutely. And one of the things that Bobby Glanton-Smith was telling me, you can't just say no. If you exercise your power that way, what you need to say is, okay, this is what we want to be different, for us to go back to it. And we're only singling out Walmart, not because it's worse than other companies, but it's the biggest company in the world. People would take notice of that.
Wow.
So if you short Walmart and then stop buying there, you're all going to make some money, and you're going to get hurt.
Make your point, Jeff, and then I got to bring in our guest.
I agree with about 97% of that. The only 3% that I do not is the concept of boycott. Boycott, to me, sounds like we're going to do this until you do that. What I think black people need to do is find businesses and choke them to death.
Kill them and say, we're business murderers.
Yes, we will murder your business, and we will murder them arbitrarily. We will get a board and just flip it and throw a dart. Hey, target, you're going to die at the hands of black people. You start doing that. Something I had to learn, as I'll say this, I'll be done.
Hurry up, Jeff.
Getting beat up on the south side of Chicago when I was a young kid. An aggressor only respects equal or greater aggression. That's it. All this appealing to the bully not to take your damn lunch money will have you without lunch money and a fat lip. Straight up.
Wow. We have somebody special on the line right now. she's calling in, and she's going to weigh in. She's been listening to all of the rabble we've been spitting out, you know. Now, this sister here, very accomplished, PhD, educator, life coach, author, you know, the whole litany of accomplishments that really incredible people tend to, just gather around themselves. She's on the line right now. Her name is Dr. Jessica Houston. Welcome to the So What Morning Show. Can you please add some clarity to the foolishness that we have been espousing?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've heard some very interesting comments just on the moments that I've been on, so I am really excited to be here. And I certainly agree with you on not boycotting, but as you said, literally choking them to death. So awesome.
Thank you.
Well, what should we do? In light, I mean, because listen, Geoff brought up a great point. He said, it's not enough. Trayvon isn't enough.
No.
Oscar Grant wasn't enough.
I'm a dude.
Michael Brown isn't enough.
My cousin Emmett Till.
Your cousin Emmett Till. How about it? It seems as the Clippers situation, the Hawks situation, it just keeps happening. And we tend to just say, okay, after a while it'll go away and we go back to our lives every day and play our roles in the position that they have us casted in. The question is, what should we be doing proactively? The doctor just hit us over the head with a Jew bomb, and I really appreciate it. It's a Jew bomb, because that's what they do in order to control the businesses and the corporations that affect their community's life. So what should we be doing, Jessica Houston?
I certainly agree that really the issue is dropping these issues so quickly. We get all revved up for, maybe a week, maybe even 2 weeks, but then after that there is silence until something else comes up. But we've got to be on the front end and continually advocating for ourselves, for equality, and just stop picking up issues just momentarily. We've got to actually make this a real movement and continue to press the issue, not drop the issue, and I think that's where we're really messing up.
Sister Twinkie is in the building with us right now. You have a point as well.
I have a question for the doctor, because we have what I call and what Dr. Joy DeGruy calls a post-traumatic slave syndrome. And within this post-traumatic slave syndrome, I've taken one of her workshops here in LA, and since you are, from what I'm to understand, you're a doctor and a life coach and social services and such, what is that about? First of all, what do you think about that? And what is that about us that we can continually, week after week and month after month, put it on the back burner or put it in the back of our minds after a week or two? Because that's something innately I feel like a part of us. We have a tendency to we don't keep it on the forefront. We seem to tuck it away.
Just move on.
In a place and ignore it.
Yeah, I think it's more of we have people just jumping on just to jump on for the sake of being involved with everything that is going on, but at the same time we lose track of it. We get back to our day-to-day lives and we just forget about it. We're focusing on ourselves, and that's one of the issues that we have in our community is being too self-centered. We've got to just stop always thinking about me. We've got, just because you have a corporate position, just because you're making six figures and so forth, that doesn't mean that you can't give back to your community, that you can't be active in your community and continue to do what you need to do as far as putting in your part and not just expecting, Reverend Al Sharpton and all of these other public officials to take over. We've got to take over from the ground.
Ise Lyfe?
Well, I think a big part of that, to speak to what Twinkie is saying, is that we have a transactional relationship with our dignity. We have a transactional relationship with our blackness and our heritage that a wounded people carry that other people don't carry. So when I listen to Doc talk about, you just have to do this. Right. There's three things, and it's well intended, but there's three things on the table for us. One, a huge dignity deficit that I'm always talking about.
Right.
We have a huge dignity deficit. And also it's important to see with this generation that, we talk about black folks and our plight. We talk about two things normally. We talk about slavery, and we talk about the civil rights movement. But what we are not mentioning, especially when we're dealing with this generation, I'm born in '82, the crack epidemic. Other than the transatlantic slave trade, there's nothing more devastating to black people than crack and the crack epidemic. And so when you see these youth standing up and protest, nothing is giving them that. The church isn't telling them to go out in the street and protest. Certainly television and the music they listening to isn't telling them to go out and protest. So this is really a miracle to see these young people, in my view, stand up and have some type of thing to say up and out against the system. And then the last piece of it is that I think it's important for anyone who's viewing our circumstance to remember how despised black people are. We the only people that every people got another kind of name for. You know, whether we being called a mayate or a nigga, or even other black folks. Our Nigerian brothers and sisters, not all, but some call us a kata. Everybody's got a name for black people in America. So with that type of despising view towards us, it's a lot on our shoulders in our resentment or attempt to reject these notions that are placed on us. And I think that's important to factor in.
So when we come back, Bobby Glanton-Smith, the voice of reason on this show, is really going to weigh in. This is the wisdom of the panel right now. He goes way, way back. I missed a way. Ise Lyfe told me I missed a way. He goes way, 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 way back. He going to come back and really...
in a Broham Cadillac.
Right. He going to make it clear for us. We'll be back at 2.2 Zoe Up Morning Show. Black State of the Union. We talking about it.
For people to consider. So why is it that this country is putting away so many African-American men? Do we have a definite reason for it?
Well, we live in a nation that's committed to punishment rather than dealing with the fundamental problems that lead to mass incarceration. In 1970, for example, we only had about 250 to 300,000 people incarcerated. Now, in 2011, we have 2.5 million people. We didn't raise a generation of criminals. We shifted public policy in such a way that it's easier to get incarcerated. The net is wider and it's deeper. We live in a nation...
But wasn't that done out of noble causes to begin with? I mean, with the population growth and the fact that crimes in this day and age are expanding to different fronts that people probably hadn't even considered then, including technology crimes. Does it make a difference in how we interpret these numbers?
Well, most people aren't in jail for the things like technology crimes or other white-collar crimes. Most people are in jail. The prison boom comes, in fact, from the war on drugs, which begins in the mid-'80s, 1984, when drug use was actually at a low. Before crack actually hits the streets, we begin a war on drugs, which really turns out to be a war on small-time drug users. 4 out of 5 people who are incarcerated for drugs are not dealers, they're small-time users. And again, that's a criminalization of a medical problem. We've decided to use punishment instead of social resources.
So the new end of...
The education system of white America that it has set up for its slaves prepares them to march dead straight into prison. This is why they are taught nothing. This is why when you go into public high schools, you go through a metal detector. You are searched. This acclimates parents and children to the prison that these children are ultimately going to, because not only can they not read or write, but they are not being taught anything of the knowledge and acceptance of themselves.
It sounds like what you're saying is that there's some level of personal responsibility, and it's not fair because white kids don't have to do this, but you do have to look at what you're wearing, and you do have to look at how you're walking, and that's just the reality.
Well, honestly, I disagree with that, because you tell me what didn't Trayvon Martin do that our parents teach him? He did everything that he was supposed to do. He acknowledged that he was there. He got on the phone. He called somebody. He said, hey, you need to get away from me. He ran away. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you put your hands up, you tell them that you don't have a gun. The thing that America is telling our children, and this is the sad part, that black folks, if you don't make me comfortable, we will kill you.
Right now, we're feeding the prison industrial complex right now. Our kids are going to prison because they're promoting these records. They're promoting these records daily that send us to jail. You know what I mean? It's cool to go to jail. You know what I mean? They glorifying these things. And it's not the black youth.
There's a lot going on. And that's why we're doing the Black State of the Union right now. You guys saw all the videos. You saw all of that. Before we went to break, we got back with Bobby. Bobby, get to us and tell us about what we're trying to do here, how we move forward.
Well, number one is address fear motivation, which is unsustainable. And if you look at just the last year or so, we get impassioned when there's an injustice that just inflames that part of our heart that just says, no, that's not right. And that's unsustainable because we remain afraid to deal with the root causes of why we're perceived as less than and how we act that out.
But you know this like I know this. They're going to always perceive us as less than as long as we perceive ourselves as less than.
I'm getting there real quickly because we spend a lot of time and energy on statistics and studies that lead us right back to the same conclusion that we're powerless. And what we have to change, first of all, is the perception that we're governed only by fear. Fear is in all of us in every aspect. The only time that we've ever, I as a person, have ever had success with, I said, you know what? Screw it, I'm going for it. I don't care if my mama don't support it. I don't care if nobody supports what I believe in. I'm going to do it. And I've had no greater sense of accomplishment when I reached that destination in my own mind that this is for me, it's the right thing to do, and I'm going to be unstoppable. And that type of motivation is rooted in the fact that you got to believe that what you're doing is the only thing to do. Right. And so you're not going to jump on and off that train. Right. You're going to say, look, as a person and as a community, I'm not accepting anything less than full citizenship.
Dr. G, you had another Jew bomb.
Yeah, another Jew bomb. You know, the people who went through the Holocaust, who survived the Holocaust, they're dying off now. And there is a worry that it'll just be forgotten in the Jewish community. And there's even this, you know, and there's always, there's a population in the world who claim that the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, never happened. And maybe there is a chance for blacks who say, hey, we've had a Holocaust that has never been acknowledged. And maybe there's a way in which they can join with that part of the Jewish community that says never again. And maybe the black community has to say never again, or let's just stop it because it's continuing to go. And Geoff Brown's going to do a
He's about to pop.
Oh my God! Is there a way that we can do that without joining you? I think one of the chief issues with black people is we are always looking to jump double dutch with somebody with our struggle. And first off, can we swear today? No?
So that was a Jew grenade. You're going to have to downgrade it from a Jew bomb.
I'm going to jump on that grenade.
It's a Jew firecracker.
Are we swearing today?
Yes, we are.
Are we swearing today? Here's one thing I think we should take from Jews. It is impossible to fuck with one Jew. You don't. You fuck with them all. That is their strength. So we, from the outside, need to look in and take notes from you. But respectfully, I love you, but I don't see us siding with y'all because whenever you join a team, you are beholden somehow to that team.
That's a good
point.
We
need to be on our own team.
That's a good point. Twinkie?
Well, first, we need to acknowledge that we do have a post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Absolutely.
And then we need to rebuild trust in each other.
But if you crazy and sick, how you going to rebuild trust? Because post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental disorder, is it not, Doc?
Yeah, it is. You know, it's interesting. I wrote a book on it, PTSD, in the Dummy series, and I want to rename the whole syndrome to re-traumatization avoidance. Because anyone who's been that traumatized to their core, they live their life waiting to, trying to avoid the next shoe dropping because they don't know how they made it through the first time, and they live this constricted, awful life because they think they won't make it through the next time.
And it's the same thing that I was talking about before the show even started. I said you have to remember thought is creative. Yeah. It's constructive. Whether it's positive thought or negative thought, it's always constructing something. And whatever the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. Meditation shows you how to stop thinking.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's when the guru said, let's get to the mental state of samadhi, or of no mind. So you can stop the creation process. And some people, like the doc just broke down, are hell-bent on thinking destruction. I mean, it's a tough way to look at that. Ise and
well, I was saying that there's our common narrative here about what needs to happen in togetherness is antithetical to the common narrative. When you talk to black folks, I speak at universities and speak at graduations every year.
You're going to be speaking at USC soon, too, right?
I speak at USC September 15th. Thank you. Yeah.
Just a little slide. Yeah, we're there. We're there. Suited and booted. We're there. We are there.
I got one more wear for. I got to put this in the cleaners.
USC September 15th. I will be there. But what I was saying about at the universities, when I watch black students graduate, there's this tone that's they're graduating from college and black people.
Ooh. Yeah.
I've graduated from y'all.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that. Repeat that.
There's this desire to graduate from black people.
I'm through with y'all.
Yeah, and I've made it out.
Right. This little paper says I'm done.
I got my receipt. I owe $200,000, but that's what it costs to be away from you niggas.
You don't hear other communities saying, you know, I don't hear a lot of Jewish folks or a lot of Korean folks say I want to give back to my Jewish community. You know, you are the Jewish community. You are the Korean community, no matter where you are, and it's a natural part. Also, if you go to New York, there's a Polish parade that's cultural. Mm-hmm. There may be an Irish parade that's cultural. Black parades are seen as militant. Black schools are seen as, oh, that radical black stuff. Every Jew in LA is going to a private Jewish school that teaches them their culture and who they are. Ooh. So part of it is just this weird complexity we have around our culture, embracing who we are, and a desire to opt out of it and get away from it. We hear black people talking about black folks and quote-unquote nigga shit, which is a sickness. Yeah. Because normally when they say, oh, that's an African-American, they're talking about somebody that's a black version of white people. Ooh. And when they talk about somebody being on some nigga shit, they talking about a black person struggling. Mm-hmm. And so that's a lot of pain that inhibits us. At least that's my personal
opinion. I love it. Dr. Jessica Houston, you got to come in and bite off a piece of this here right now.
Yes, I'm listening to.
Expound on whatever point.
And one of the things I think too is that we just have this learned helplessness, this idea that no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you are just going to continue to struggle. You're going to continue to be discriminated against. And so...
But let me ask you this, Jessica, is that not warranted to some degree? When you look at ageism, racism, sexism, classism, then you look at how the educational system is set up, when you look at the prison pipe from preschool... when you start looking at some of the systems that are in place, even education.
No, but Jessica's point's real important because
important.
Because one of the main negative feedback loops that stop people trying anything is when you think that anything you do today won't make a dent in your eventual future, and you think that you are destined and doomed to be miserable, you don't do anything today. So I want to piggyback on what she had to say.
This is good stuff. We got to take another quick break, but it's going down, and I have a question on the way out. Has President Obama merely become the black face for U.S. white supremacy and colonialism around the world? I'll be back in 2.2. We're going to deal with it. Holla!
Has a rap career is beyond me. I don't get it. And he takes his shirt off. Oh my God, he looks like 50 pounds of chewed Tootsie Rolls with it. All right. Now, you are in white fashion. You know white boys always leave the house like they're going to help somebody move. Resist and defend the horrible hoes. There are some horrible people. And what you need to do is start policing your own. That's where I start them off. I often speak about this in social forums. I do some stand-up on it. The existence of the word and the people hoes. Everybody has a problem with that. A hoe is an individual who sleeps with more than one person on purpose in a family, more than two people of any particular group, and more people than, we'll just say for the sake of argument, his or her age in a given same square mile radius of their home as their age. That person is out of pocket, in my opinion, when they expect the same respect as an individual who respects themselves. Black people need to stop being the earth's hoe. You are expecting the earth to respect you more than you respect yourself. If the earth was to do that, that would make the earth suckers. That is the definition of a sucker. Any person who respects a person, place, thing, constitution, construct, more than that person, place, constitution, or construct respects itself, you become a sucker. Nobody wants to be that. That's why you can't turn to anybody to help you. That's why other countries don't give a shit about what you're going through right now. We can start with no more. I don't want to see another one. If I see you on my Facebook page, I'm going to tear your shirt tail off at the goddamn collar. I am tired of seeing, see what they did? Now, if he was black, shut up. We're tired of it. Excuse me, I'm going to go someplace right now. Black people, quickly, get the sand out of your pussy and let's go.
Whoa.
Okay? Shake it out. No, the police don't like you. No, it's not fair at work. No, it's a bunch of military shit I run with. Yeah, get the sand out your pussy. Let's go. Let's go. Stop blaming. Stop crying because white folks don't like it. Yes, most white folks, with the exception of you, when the revolution started, I got you. Just page me. Yeah, I still got to beep it. Don't.
Tan spray paint.
Yeah. Don't. Stop. Don't. Oh my God. What people? Here's two more things. One, the movie The Edge. Go rent the movie The Edge. It's with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, and my boy. Shout out to Harold Perrineau. They go down in a plane in the middle of Alaska,
right?
And they start whining. Oh my God, it's cold. We don't know where we are. They won't send a crew to get us. Anthony Hopkins goes, do you know what most people die of in the wilderness? Not exposure, not hypothermia, shame. Because they cannot get over the fact that they are in the fucked up position they are. So they sit still and die. Okay? Get up, stand up, let's go. Is that it? Yeah, I believe
that's it, Jeff.
That's it. Is that it?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm done.
Jeff, wow. Sand in your pussy. Good job. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it.
Shake it out.
The Beach Report.
Walk down to the beach, down to the water, and shake it out.
Dr. Jessica Houston, I want to thank you for enduring Jeff's intellectual rant. If people wanted to contact you and connect with you, how would they go about doing that?
They can find me on Twitter at Dr. Jess Houston, and Facebook, Jessica Houston Enterprises, and then my website is expectingvictory.com.
Expectingvictory.com. Also, you have a book, right?
Yes.
What is the name of it? What is it?
Women's Secrets.
I should have a copy.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, where can they find that book, please?
They can find it on Amazon.com.
Well, let me just say we really appreciate your insight. It was very valuable. Thank you for joining our show today, and we'd love to have you back sometime soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
All righty.
Have that book bathed and sent to my tent.
Immediately. So, we're back, and let me just say this. The rant was crazy, but there's some serious things that we need to deal with in our community right now. So when I throw this around to the table, what I need to know is, number one, this September 8th boycott blackout. Let's just be honest. Today, right now, do we think it's going to work? Do we think around the nation our people are really going to stand up and do something?
Fuck work. Is it going to help?
How about it?
No.
Let's go into it.
No, not at all.
You don't think it's going to help at all?
No boycotts do not.
Martin Luther King did a pretty good job with his.
But that's not what he was killed for. Dr. King was not killed for integrating lunch counters and toilets. Dr. King was killed for his day planner. You know what was next? Finna come get that money. Okay, that's what Dr. King. Dr. King was killed because there was a civil rights activist who said Dr. King was wrong with integration. That civil rights activist was Dr. King. He said, I screwed up. No, what we need to do is go on about our business and get our goddamn money. Just give me my money and quit playing with me and let me get down with my people.
Life?
Well, I think the blackout, though it may be well intended, is relatively laughable because, and whenever I
laughable,
whenever I'm speaking to and about or for black folks, I always start with I know us.
Because we us.
I know us.
That's why I asked that question.
You ain't talking about something you don't know.
Yeah. Right. So when I say I know us, it's that we have a schizophrenia that confuses us and the rest of the world. Wait, so dignity, I was at the BET Awards this year.
Well, that says it all. Here
we go.
And
there's the deficit.
It's hard to argue. I'm watching. What, 4,000 of us stand up and award niggerdom. Then
niggerdom.
Yeah.
Then I know that there's 10 million other folks watching. So folks are confused. There's no show me the Asian, Jewish, and it's all my grandpa used to always comparing us to other races. I don't think you can qualify oppression. I don't want to do that, but I do want to say, show me another people who even a little bit degrade their people and then get award for it by their people.
Wow,
that's phenomenal.
You remember the
now?
Trump,
I'm not
you
saying
remember
that
the
BET
you remember the
exist.
the NAACP awards?
Yeah.
When 50's first album came out, he was nominated for it.
Yeah.
Remember, R. Kelly was nominated.
Fresh after pissing.
Right. Fresh after pissing.
Hadn't gotten the shake.
Nominated for an NAACP award.
Now flip it. Brett Ratner is making a movie with Eddie Murphy and Ben Stiller. Great movie. I saw it. It's funny. The heist is about a bank heist, but it's a tower heist. Tower heist. Yeah. In an interview, off the mic, they say, "Do you audition? Do you guys do rehearsals?" And Ratner goes, "Oh no, audition is for faggots." Now he was set to host the Academy Awards. Not only did his hosting of the Academy Awards, but straight to DVD. This ain't hitting a theater.
Yeah.
Because the gay community has a clear message about you're not going to say nothing
that will never do.
against or out of us. And I think I don't think that's a pitiful thing. I think that's a dignified thing, you know?
Yeah.
Veronica Conway's on the line right now. Bobby Glanton, say what you need to say. We bringing in Veronica too. Bobby, what did you have to say?
It's consistent on a certain level with what the brother just said. Controlling the narrative.
Bless you, man.
Thank you. Controlling the narrative is number one priority. We often, in this room, emulate the behavior that has to be multiplied and duplicated because what men have done, men can do. Our people need to understand that there's evidence of our success, our ability to work together, be able to see the commonality in our objectives, and there are living examples all over this country of black people putting in work, being successful. The only thing that's missing now is the linkage. The linkage is important. We have to move away from the frustrating aspects of our experience and concentrate on duplicating models of possibility in business, in community, in health and wellness, in education. There are schools in this country that need to be multiplied and duplicated. Businesses are nothing but solutions to problems. We got more problems than anybody, so we should have some of the most flourishing businesses in the United States. So I'm going to name 3 or 4 enterprises that I know of. Gar Enterprises right here in L.A. When a man with a 3rd grade education can become one of the wealthiest people. He's got a body shop right here in L.A. The Black IPO. You talking about money? You got to formulate capital so this sister can cast some real movies like The Stick-Up Kid featuring my friend Hawthorne James. IMAL, Emerge Solutions. We have to identify legitimate businesses, take the color issue out of it, deal with the quality of the people that are putting things together to the point where when we support something, it's sustainable and it's something that can grow.
Yeah. Veronica, speak to that and take us on out.
Yeah, I think that we have, you talked about whether the boycott can work. And I think that there has to come a point where we are more aspirational. In other words, why not be cash mobbing black businesses? In other words,
say more about cash mobbing. What does that mean?
Sustainable impact, I participated in national black cash mobs where you had 20 cities all over the country and people organized on the ground to go and spend cash money in black business. You've seen flash mobs. You've done black cash mobs.
Wow.
Right? Okay. But the thing is to be aspirational in that way. We have to, and before we can really organize with each other, we have to get internally organized because organizing with one another in a way that's sustainable presupposes self-love. It proposes love, black love, and it presupposes acting in our economic self-interest. So it presupposes that. And so if we're going to have an aspirational sustainable quality to the way that we move and organize, we got to deal with self, and then we got to deal with how we mobilize.
Wow. Listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go even deeper. I think a lot of positives are coming out of this show right now, and that's the whole purpose of it. I mean, if we're going to sit here and have a pity party, then the show would have been over as soon as we started. So, you got some more Jew bombs? I'm looking. No more firecrackers. We'll be back in 2.2. So What Morning Show? Holla!
How do we know? 1967, Kerner Commission report on urban disorder. When black people said, yo, we're tired of this system. You know what I mean? This system is oppressing us. So we rebelled against the system. We burned things. We said, yo, we had enough. He did his little report on what caused these riots. He said, what caused these riots? He said it was young children who started these riots, and what was motivating them was a high self-esteem and an enhanced racial pride.
Even though I'm dark-skinned, like, I'm not black. I'm Dominican and Cape Verdean, and black people get on my damn nerves. I'm not even joking, because you know what? They're mad ignorant. Like, that's very true. They are very ignorant people. Like, they do not care about nothing but themselves. They're selfish, they're ignorant, and I would never date a black boy. I would never have a black girlfriend, because they got that bad hair. Both of them. And, you know, it's not me just being, this is not me being racist. This is me being real. Because, I mean, we have him right there, and then him right there. He's on a Toshiba. When my little white homeboy is going to be on the Mac trying to make a song with me, trying to get me rich, you know? Like, not trying to be about something that's corny in the library at school. And I didn't mean to rash on them personally, but I'm just saying, I'm just pointing something out. No hard feelings. Yeah, no hard feelings at all. I mean, yes to Irving, because that nigga is the definition of a piece of shit. Yeah. But anyways, I like black people, but I don't really have that many black friends. I don't really like to make black friends. They're not anybody that I look to be my friend. Right. I don't really know what else to say, but yeah, I don't get along with black girls that much, like, unless they're nice, because they're usually not nice. They have nasty attitudes and stuff, you know? Yeah. You know? Black people stress me out. That's why I don't like them. They stress me out. They got the craziest problems. No, that's true. You're laughing, but that's true. Like, every black friend that I have, they come up to me, my cousins, brothers, uncles, mother, sister, that nigga. I be like, I got pregnant by my cousin's brother's cousin. Right, and I just be sitting there like, I do not have these kinds of problems, and I don't need these kinds of problems. Therefore, I don't need black friends. That's it, and I don't even have to say no more because I'm done.
Jeff, we're back. Oh my gosh. Just talking.
I'm passionate about this.
Can I squeeze in an ignorant white question real quick?
Sure.
Watch yourself.
If I went outside the studio, if I went to the black community of LA and I was speaking to the black males, if I would ask them, unless you're either entertaining us, wowing us with your athleticism, or scaring us, do you feel invisible? What do you think they'd say?
Do you have to ask?
No, because when you feel invisible, because
you don't have to ask.
Black women don't feel invisible the same way as black men do.
Well,
I mean, they may feel so, but they're accepted. You don't scare us, yada yada yada. But I mean, I really feel for my black brothers here. I mean,
thanks.
Well, I think
some of my best friends are black.
I think you almost have to qualify the subset that you're speaking to, because there's black males, there's black men, and then there's everybody else. And the everybody else part of that would be intimidated by you even asking that question.
Wow. Right.
Some of the people that are reflected in this room would be insulted and would challenge you for even talking to us like that, because you clearly wouldn't be speaking to me or anybody in this room. You'd be like,
yeah, but I don't think any of you feel invisible.
That's my point. That's my point. I'm not invisible. I'm a problem, but I'm not invisible.
That's why I said it could be an ignorant white question. Do you think in the community at large there are a lot of black?
All right, listen. I know you guys are getting revved up. We have another guest. Let's unrev you. Dr. Patricia Thompson is in the building. She is a psychologist, management consultant, and author of The Consummate Leader, a holistic guide to inspiring growth in others. That's Dr. Patricia Thompson. Dr. Thompson, welcome to the So What Morning Show. I don't know how much of this show you've seen, but
I've been watching.
You've been paying attention. So then I don't have to really set you up. Can you please bring some common sense to some of the craziness that has been said here today?
Well, there are a few thoughts that I've been thinking about as I've been listening, and one of the things that I just wanted to start with is that whenever we think of ourselves as a black population, we really need to ensure that we're not just thinking of ourselves as a monolithic group.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of diversity within, and I think that whenever we start to paint in broad generalizations, we can get ourselves in a little bit of trouble.
I think that's a great point. That's a great point.
What does she mean, though?
Because there's a lot of diversity in the Jewish community. But at the end of the day, there's still the Jewish community.
She's just agreeing with what you just said to the doc about if you were to say, how invisible do we feel if you said that in the wrong group of people?
Dr. Patricia, I think it's dangerous to big up our diversity, especially right now.
Oh, my God. Repeat that, please.
I think it's dangerous because what I believe that would create is what we've been fighting with already. You got the talented 10th who think they're better than the guys in the inner city. So it creates an inner racism within the race.
Yes.
It's an inner classism kind of thing. Like, we're better than you. We don't even come down there. So I think it could be a problem. Go ahead, Ise.
Even though there's truth in what she...
Dominicans and Cape Verde.
Yeah, like that sickness that she was speaking of.
Right.
There's truth to what she's saying is that we're not a monolithic people.
Agreed.
And
but no group is.
Yeah, of course not. But at the same time, I think there's moments where, like Pac said, we might argue amongst ourselves, but I promise you this, we'll tear the roof off this thing. He's saying that, but there's some things that just unite a people, no matter what the issue is. And I think those moments should come, for example, in these moments of absolute overt police brutality. And if America was truly a nation, the whole nation would unite.
Thank you.
You see?
Say more.
And when we talk about police brutality, we only really bring up the murders, but what about all the frisking for no reason? What about the abuse of women, the stopping,
the raping of women?
It's a constant crazy thing, and if we were really a nation, this wouldn't all of a sudden become a black issue.
Bobby?
It would be an American issue.
Bobby?
Sister, and out of all respect, I agree with a great portion of what you're saying about being non-monolithic, but we become monolithic very quickly when a person like just happened here in Hollywood a couple of weeks ago. This brother was on the way to the award show and had every credential you could imagine, but in some perceptional way, we are monolithic. No matter how, as Zoe just said, from that class situation, we get out there to an extent where we think outside of the race until we're brought back into the race perceptionally.
You're whatever color the Klan
and
says
I'm not saying that in a defeatist kind of way. I'm just saying we have to acknowledge the fact that the more we are successful, the more conscious and sensitive we need to be about the ones that we do leave behind. Because you can't leave them behind.
Patricia,
you really can't leave them behind.
I think you guys took my point the wrong way, because for me, diversity isn't necessarily a negative. And I think what we need to do as a community to better unite is to appreciate the diversity and not think that because somebody, comes from this background or that background, someone is better than the other person. Just like, just because someone has one accent versus another accent, someone is, again, better. So I think that if we can appreciate the diversity and the uniqueness and the many aspects of the Black experience and not judge it, that can help us to be more unified as a group. And, one of the things that I was really thinking about as we were thinking about Ferguson and things like that is, I think we're angry, and we have a right to be angry. A lot of this stuff is really outrageous and reprehensible, and it kind of pulls the scabs off of old wounds that we have. But I think that...
Doc,
that's Geoff Brown.
Hey,
he wants to say
I
something.
really appreciate what you're saying, but I look at, when we look at this diversity that we discuss, I look at Black America as a broken glass, like you break a glass in a kitchen, and you look at the bigger piece and go, wow, look at that piece, or wow, look at this piece. You cannot look at it that way. It becomes dangerous. You need to put all those shards together and try to put that glass back together, because you can't take either one of these pieces and drink with it. And while you're talking about how this piece is different and that piece is different, there are a bunch of scattered different pieces, and it doesn't matter who honors one piece over the other.
Can we just get back to the narrative for a moment? Because we're not in control of our visual, of what it is, of our story. We're not in control of our story, and let's just be honest with the brother Ise Lyfe here speaking, and we know that a lot of young people don't read. So what they're getting their information from music or television and film. And if we're not in control of our story in television and film, and if we don't choose to talk about our story in music anymore, because that's what these young people are now talking about, tsunamiing and making it rain and all other kinds of foolishness that doesn't even really exist in their paradigm, then what is it that we are really doing? We have to control it. We have to control it, put it out there. We have to name it. We have to claim it, and we have to, because that's what they see of us as well as what we see of us. So that is first and foremost. Let's talk about controlling our stories and telling our own narrative.
That's bomb busy. We got to take another quick break. When I come back, more So What Morning Show. The Black Forum, the State of the Union. That's what we're talking about. We'll be back at 2.2. Holla!
For itself, and I say thanks to the two most powerful folks in the history of America, the black woman and the black church.
Well, I have several friends who have up and moved to Brazil and have found that the relationship levels there are totally different than here. They find that the women are definitely much more, I don't want to use the word subservient because that's not what it is. I would say more caring of them and who they are and respect them as men and treat them as such. And it has nothing to do with how much they make. It has nothing to do with anything else but them just being man.
I see a lot of American black women come here. They hold their head down because they can't hold a candle to these. They can't hold a candle to these chicks down here because they take care of themselves. They sexy in what they wear, how they carry themselves.
I work hard, you know, in America, in the state, in the city that I work in, and you don't get embraced. I leave America and come here. Brazil's a nice country, man. She gives me warmth. She embraces me. I came here and I met the natives, if you will, and the respect and not admiration, but just the respect factor, man. I come here now because the women treat me like the man I know that I am. Right. See, back home, you got to buy all that. I have to buy your respect. I got to buy your time. You can't take a sister out back home in America, man, with nothing. You understand? To me, in the areas that I'm in now, a lot of the sisters working are gravitating toward, to me, negative guys. You know, pants hanging down, hair every which way. To me, that's not being a man. Right. If you can work, pay your bills, and be responsible, and be a productive member of society, then that makes you a decent man. I mean, women don't seem to like that.
Whoa.
I don't push it.
Whoa.
I don't, yeah. It's like I'm allowed to be lackluster over here.
And listen, this is just another layer of problems that we're dealing with. Now, I'm not trying to paint a picture that African American problems are more severe than others, or am I?
Yeah. You should.
Yes.
Let's just really think about that.
I don't give a damn about other people's problems.
So if that's the case, no. There's a human aspect to it too. And let me just say this. Please understand this before you disagree. I know you're already disagreeing. Black people are so behind culturally that we've got to get knowledge of self so we can then learn to get over ourselves. Wow. Do you see how far behind we are?
Yeah.
See, that's where spirituality comes in. See, we're religious. We're not spiritual.
We're the damn.
Right.
See, we're cultural. And the narrative is one of victimhood. So you need a victimhood religion to keep you in place. Do you understand? So what I'm saying is, this is when you see white folk who have accomplished everything. And then you see them climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or some shit. Spirit. Because they're trying to find spirit. Because they're now over themselves. What we are, what we're about.
They're void of themselves.
But that's why they're in pursuit of it.
Right.
But I'm saying black people can't even really be in pursuit because they don't have that peace to transcend.
But it's also what's not rewarded. I think that's an interesting thing too. I think so for example in LA or in California period, most social justice or community work is funded by some type of foundation or some type of large philanthropist arm, and they never fund the solution. they fund two things. They fund the analysis and they fund art. So they'll fund a mural on the wall, and they'll fund the mural on the wall, and they'll fund the research. Is racism real?
Yeah.
You know, is it? And they'll do that for a decade. And so people get a reward. You get a whole career. And if you're coming out of prison right now, I was just talking about this other day, this organization. If you're coming out of prison and you say, I'm formerly incarcerated, they'll gasp at you. They'll go, oh, well, and then you write your book, and then you do your thing. And so there's this whole rewarding of being feeble, a reward of have once being without. And that's the piece that I think we deal with too, because now we're giving badge of honors for our poverty, and resented for greatness.
But my question.
So listen, one quick second.
Okay.
Patricia is still on the line. Patricia.
Yes.
Please speak to this, and then give people a point of reference for those that want to follow you, that want to connect to you, buy your book, and so forth. Please connect.
Yeah, I would say, at the foundation of a lot of this, I see it as internalized racism. And I think we certainly come by it, honestly, if you think about our history in this nation. But I think that for a lot of us, it's so painful in terms of thinking about it. Kind of like the doctor was talking about the re-traumatization avoidance.
I need you to back up.
That down to
I'm going to need you to back up a little bit. Back up to the internal. Yeah, talk to me like I'm 5 on the internalized racism.
Twinkie and Geoff are asking. Yeah. That's Tracy Bird and Geoff Brown are asking, what does internalized racism mean?
Yeah, you lost me on that.
Separated himself from the question.
Well, what it means is that, there's racism in larger society, and a lot of us internalize it and actually believe those messages about ourselves. And, you talked earlier about how we think about ourselves and how we believe, when things kind of crystallizes. And to me, when we internalize racism and don't believe in ourselves, we, like the other doctors were saying, we stop trying.
Okay.
But I think that in not exploring that and understanding the ways that you can hold yourself back in addition to the society
Let's break
holding
it
you
down
back,
to its lowest common
it's like
denominator.
You have the double legs holding down your neck or something. And so, in terms of expecting the society to do everything for us, I think we have to work on societal change. But I think we also have to explore ourselves to figure out our own beliefs and how we hold ourselves back as well.
Yes. So, doctor, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor.
Awesome. So let's take it back and let's focus on the 3 fingers that are pointing at you instead of the one that's pointing out at everyone else. Can we do that for a moment? When did you? I'm going back. I'm like brown sugar. When did you fall in love with hip hop? When did you fall in love with yourself?
I think for me, it happened probably when I was in university. But I grew up in a community where there were not a lot of people of color, and I always felt different, and so I always had those messages telling me that I was less than. But it was really when I started doing a lot of self-exploration and learning more about my culture and my history and just immersing myself in it that I really, realized all that I have to offer and that I need to, really make my mark on the world.
Now, our resident old redwood tree, Mr. Wisdom, has something to say. The sage.
Straw in his mouth.
Speak to us, Bobby.
Well, first of all, congratulations for your self-discovery. And I think what we're looking for is a way to plug into that affirmatively. And as Sister Bird said earlier, our objective right now is controlling the narrative. Yes. And that was a breakdown in communication a few minutes ago because we were listening to you talk about internalized racism, and it spun into a different kind of understanding because the language, as you espoused it, didn't really connect and resonate with us. But now that you done broke it down and said that you came from outside the culture and then you had to find your way, I think that's important because we all have to be able to do some of that in order to do it in a collective sense. And I'm back to that notion of monolith being a good thing. Right. Because whether we want to be or not, until we change the narrative, we are perceived the same. Correct. So no matter if you're a doctor or the brother on the corner.
So let me do this. Let me do this really quickly. Dr. Patricia Thompson, where can people who are listening find you, connect to you, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? How do they get with you?
They can go to www.patricia-thompson.com.
Well, let me just say, I really appreciate your insight and information that you've provided today. We really needed it. It actually brought us deeper, gave us more information. We were able to pick and choose some of the things you were saying and go deeper with that. So I appreciate you. And again, anytime you want to come back, you're welcomed, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, hon.
Thank you. And I just think that I just want to say this about, and I wonder what your thoughts would be on this, Tracy.
That's a great topic. Listen.
When we talk about changing the narrative, because I think it is absolutely necessary to talk about the narrative and changing the narrative, I think the most important change to the narrative would be to say, first of all, the narrative is priceless.
Yes, it is.
How about that?
It is
That
priceless.
there's no value on the narrative. So that you can't sell the narrative. You got something about the James Brown story.
Because niggas will sell the narrative.
Not only that, or the narrative will be invaded. So when I was in the fourth grade, when I was in the fourth grade,
and that's why we can't join with you.
No, come on, but no, this is important. But I think Doctor will relate to this. When I was in the fourth grade, they took us to see the Schindler's List.
Yes, yeah.
And Schindler's List. And at the movie theater, while the movie is playing, first of all, I don't know why if you should take fourth graders to see this movie. I mean, I was in fourth grade, Miss Wilson, whole Oakland Public Schools, we all had to go see Schindler's List. All these black kids not getting no information about slavery. We had to go see Schindler's List. Right. And so we went to see Schindler's List. And
you had to. And you had to be on good behavior because that was the field trip.
That's what I'm about to tell you. The kids, the students, some students were laughing during the movie, and we went during the day when other people were coming. Some students were laughing during the movie, acting disorderly. Somebody made a complaint and filed a lawsuit against the district because of their experience when going to see this movie that they felt like was sacred because of the story. Now, when I went and saw 12 Years a Slave, it's a lot lighter in there. Very deep, sensitive movie, but people are laughing, cell phones going off, and none of us have that kind of sensitivity
to our own narrative,
around it. And I think that that's part of the narrative change. I think should be that the narrative can't be sold, and that is precious.
And it's also important to talk about because I came up during the time Roots was on television. And they said
they didn't make everybody go see Roots.
They'd never air Roots again on the network.
Yep. Because we went to school Monday.
And it was a situation of sitting down around as a family, sitting down around the television and then having a conversation afterwards about it.
I'm sorry. Look who done walked in. This is a whole.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna ask Corey.
You got on a camouflage NBA uniform?
You see him get dressed up.
Have mercy.
Corey, are you playing basketball in the woods? What is
in the military?
I'm trying to make a point here.
ISIS.
I'm trying to make a point here.
I'm sorry.
There was a point.
Go ahead.
Gentlemen.
Tracy was saying something. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tracy.
What I was trying to say before we were interrupted was that there was a dialogue and a conversation in the household. Right. And we have since stopped having that conversation in the household, and we need to require that conversation being in the household. We have too much shame attached to being enslaved as opposed to slavery. We think slavery is our fault. We were enslaved, and there's a difference. And we need to discuss it. We need to talk about it. We need to spend every Saturday or Sunday, whatever our Sabbath is, sitting down and discussing it with our young people and sharing it from generation to generation.
You're from the South, right?
My parents are from the South, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn.
I'm from the South.
It was a conversation.
And what you're saying right now was called devotion.
Yes.
In my
house.
Yes. My mom.
That's right.
We got to have devotion.
Yes.
Let's all get together and sit. We had devotion yesterday, didn't we, Bobby? Bobby came over to my house. I gave him a haircut while I was talking to the young lion.
Well, that's great.
Son.
That's great to see you invite your friends over for that.
Okay, I've had enough. We'll be back at 2.2. Right? All right, I'll let y'all in a minute.
Getting spotted like you need a help bench pressing. I know it's more than like
hypermasculinity.
Okay.
Where does it come from, and do you feel as though it comes from a sense of insecurity on the part of men?
Well, there's no doubt about it. It does come from a sense of insecurity, and it also comes from a sense of a lack of awareness of your own self and of what I would consider the feminine side of man. And most of us have not really gotten in touch with that feminine side and learned to appreciate and love it. So what happens is, even the homophobia part comes out where, anything that reminds us of the feminine side within ourselves, we protect ourselves against it. Oftentimes we wear that mask, looking tough all the time. Because I know I walked around for a long time looking tough and mean, but I was actually afraid of the world. I really was afraid, on the inside, but nobody could see that. And I was afraid because there's a lot about myself I hadn't gotten in touch with. And the major part of myself was that feminine side, that side where I could show my emotions. I didn't have no problem with crying. I'm the type of man, I go to movies and I see a movie that it touches me, I cry in the movie. But that was at some point in my life.
Hey, I'm Dean Cain, and you are watching T Radio V. I'm watching it too. Right now. Seriously.
T Radio V.
Yeah, I think what I do with Zev is trolling. For sure. Zev hates more than anything is he'll tweet something, and then I'll retweet it right away. Because he wants it to like wait and then have its day. Zev's a fun guy to troll. Everybody should try trolling Zev. I highly recommend it.
I'm pretty sure the Lakers would be a way to troll that.
That would be a good way to troll Zev. By the way, we're at 855-878.
Meet your death, too.
Let's Get Digital. Wednesday, 6 p.m. on T Radio V LA.
And it's Mary Carey, of course, Politically Naughty with Mary Carey.
I'm always naughty. I'm always politically. My behavior is always politically
naughty.
I'm never politically correct. Dr. Drew, hi. Oh, I'm so.
Guys, how are you? It's all teary-eyed, Doctor.
I know. She wished she could live at rehab.
But only if Dr. Drew's there. Obviously, if someone like, because world groping might be inappropriate, but I like the flirting and stuff.
When I walked in, you shoved my head in your.
No! Are you going to sue me?
Get Politically Naughty with Mary Carey. Mondays at 4 p.m. on T Radio V.
T Radio V.
I found the greatest invention this week. It's a bed that's made for cuddling. It's called the Cuddle Mattress. And look, you can slot your elbow in.
Oh, my. And what about the remote? That's my biggest concern.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you would seriously.
I
already lose my remote and I have a normal bed and it gets like caught in my blanket.
Yeah.
You shag in one, and then when you get it all like wet and messy, you sleep in the other. And that's kind of what you need in life. You need like a bed to shag in and a bed to sleep in.
It's the Suicide Girls, Thursday, 6 p.m. on T Radio V.
T Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
So listen, this is what I'm doing. I got to do it really, really quickly. I've never shared my final thought before, but this is what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to share it with everybody at the table right now. We're going to have everybody chime in on a point of solution, of a point of hope, of a point of, reclaiming the narrative, all of that. We're going to start right now with Veronica Conway. She's on the phone right now. Veronica, talk to us really quickly. You got 35 seconds. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's been some great points today, and that piece about internalized racism is real. We've been under the effect of psychological warfare for generations, so we have to clean that up, and when we get control of our inner game, our inner conversation, we will be able to write a new narrative for ourselves.
Wow. Now, tell them where they can connect with us today after the show, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go.
Yes, we are going to do, we're going to have a entrepreneur to entrepreneur call. We're going to talk about how you can become financially sovereign in your business and create a business and create your own economy. That's going to be at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 425-440-5100, and the conference ID is 636167#.
Perfect. Bobby, give us those points, man.
All right, Cash Bomb. My contribution.
Cash Mob, let's go.
Real Men Don't Play. A manuscript for manhood. Also, do me a favor and Google the following names. Leon T. Gar.
Microphone.
You just forgot you was on radio, huh?
Oh, man.
Didn't even want to use it right.
Okay.
What's your name? Walk down the block.
I got some coleslaw.
Let's
Tell
do
me
it.
bring me some coleslaw.
Cash Bomb, Real Men Don't Play. Manuscript for manhood. Support GAR Enterprises. Google Byron Franklin, the name Brian Franklin. Google the name Black IPO. Google the name Emerge Solutions.
He didn't want to be short.
Recycle some dollars.
That's it, man. I'm out. Damn it, Bobby.
I'm
Jesus.
out.
You done took all of his time.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead, Ise.
It's fine.
Let's go to the doctor.
It's Ise Lyfe here. I want to share a book that I've been reading that I really like. Zoe's holding up my book. It's an audio book at Barnes & Noble.
We need the audio book.
But there's a book that I've been reading called How to Be an Adult in Relationships.
It's dope.
It's a great book. I just want to encourage folks to get that. And yeah, I'm giving a huge performance lecture at USC September 15th.
And we're there.
In Mud Hall 101 at 3 o'clock.
Corey Holcomb has a great point. Please, Corey, what did you say about Ben Roethlisberger?
I just want to let everybody know Ben Roethlisberger beat 3 rape charges, and the lady that Ray Rice stole something from married him. The girls he stole something from were not allowed to press charges.
Wow, that's a great point. Jeez. Dr. G.
Look, if you want to be listened to, you got to listen to other people. And a couple of homework assignments. Ask the people around you how good a listener you are. And if you're not a good listener, ask them how that affects the relationship and what they think of you.
Quick.
This is Geoff Brown. Equality is a fallacy. You are not equal to any of the people who are oppressing you. Your style, your talents, your natural ability, the fact that all history comes from your people, you are not equal to them. You are not minorities. There's nothing minor about you. Ooh. Get with other people who are major. We're only going to save so many people. We only have so many seats on the fucking boat. The rest of you niggas going to have to learn how to swim.
Leroy's Ark.
Love that.
Go ahead, Twinkie.
I'm Tracy Twinkie Bird, and I say control the narrative. It is important, incredibly important. I've been blessed enough to work with my brother, Geoff Bird.
Oh, shout out to Jeff.
Yes, with directors like Salim Akil and Mara Brock Akil and Deborah Martin Chase and Devon Franklin, and control the narrative. It is important for us to know us, love us, and make films and stories about us. Tracy Twinkie Bird at Twitter. And you can also find me in twinkieiscasting.blogspot.com.
There you go. And here's my final thought. 3 words: reclamation, reorganization, recontextualization. If your identity has been identified, written, and authored by someone else, you don't have one. It's really that simple, right? Stop pursuing diversity within a system that's designed to oppress you. Because your pursuit of diversity is the buttress that holds up superiority. So the people who are the superior-minded, they love for you to come beg for diversity within their system because it keeps them at the top of the pyramid and you at the bottom carrying they little, what's the little thing that the king rides on and got the servants carrying them?
My chariot.
That's what you're doing by seeking diversity in a system that's designed to keep you in a marginalized space.
My son works.
Right? Now, I challenge all of you motherfuckers, because I don't really appreciate black people who don't get out and do work for each other. You ain't shit to me until you start reinvesting in us. If you take the M in me and turn it upside down, then I respect you. It's gotta be we, or there is no respect for you, right? Because if you out just for you, then that means you'll sell my kid, you'll kill me, you'll kill your mama, you'll hurt anybody just to get what you need, right? Until it's we ain't shit. Until it's we collectively. And that's just the bottom line. I'm Zoe Williams, and that's my final thought. So What Morning Show, crazy! Man, I'll see you next week with another heater. We'll be back.